Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. 2 Doctor Who chat episodes in 1 week. So much to discuss, and I haven't discussed the fall in ratings this week. Now, you know I don't base ratings on very much. They're not an importance to the BBC, really. Of course, they want people to be watching their show. I can tell you that they expected Bodyguard ratings when they were going with this kind of direction with Doctor Who. But guess what? The Doctor Who Season 11 defenders are back in defensive mode, and they're blaming the marketing. Well, they'll blame anything they can find. But the one thing they can't blame is competition, because the scheduling for this season's Doctor Who has been at a time and a slot where there's no competition on the opposition channels. It's been easy, and that's why their ratings haven't really fallen to record lows. But they did fall again last week. Don't ask me exactly 5 something. But anyway, the reality is it's really embarrassing that people are coming out blaming bad marketing. Every single episode of this season of Doctor Who has been marketed the same way. I follow both Doctor Who Official and Doctor Who America. They're always posting about the next week's episode. It's everywhere. It's on the BBC. It's everywhere. Bad marketing can't be blamed. The reason less people came in live this week is because there's nothing of interest to watch. You now know what you're going to get from each episode, which is basically the lesson of the week, the lecture of the week, and pretty much showing a bad example of male representation. And people are fed up, especially the hardcore fans. Now, I want to talk about something else as well. I want to talk about these fake social media accounts where the person, the account holder, has never got their picture. They've got about 130 followers somehow, probably bought them, and they're saying that this is the best version of Doctor Who ever. Now, I've spoken to you guys about this on here before. I have had very thorough investigations into these accounts, and most of these accounts are actually fake. Now, I don't have evidence of who's responsible for these accounts. I mean, I think we kind of know who's responsible and what entity is responsible, but I can't come on here and accuse a giant company of doing it because I will be in a lot of trouble. But I can tell you a lot of these accounts praising and defending Doctor Who Season 11 with very few followers are actually fake, and it's a publicity scam. It really is, and it's a disgrace, because if this show was doing so well, they wouldn't have to do it, would they? So that's something else that I've been looking into. But going back to the bad marketing thing, this is bad excuse after bad excuse. And in fact, it's quite laughable that if this show is as good as you say it is, why does marketing matter? This is Doctor Who. Doctor Who should sell itself when it's good. But this season of Doctor Who isn't very good. And that is why we're getting all these defences. And I want to go into something else. In another awful defence of the falling ratings, they talk about the full picture, the whole ratings, including on demand, catch up, the consolidated ratings. Someone on Twitter yesterday said to me, "This is the best season since Matt Smith." Really? Are you sure you want to stick with that? But let's just say you think that anyway. Is that really saying a lot? We know that Peter Capaldi's era of Doctor Who wasn't great. So to say it's better than that, but then again, really? You're really saying it's better than that? We still had some fabulous episodes in the Peter Capaldi era, and much better than what we're getting now. You're seriously saying that? But anyone who wants to defend the ratings will say, yes, but the consolidated ratings have never fallen below 7 million. Consolidated ratings are irrelevant. You're talking about catch-up. You're talking about on-demand. You're talking about streaming. These are people watching Doctor Who after it's been on live. People who don't think Doctor Who's very important to watch when it's live. So at the end of the day, consolidated doesn't matter. at all. And it's another balmy defence. Now, I've said this before. The ratings have been solid. The ratings are like the season itself. Not great, not bad, just mediocre, just bland. And that's what this season of Doctor Who has been. Now I want to take this to something else. The music, right? So I want to talk about Sagon Akinola and Murray Gold. Murray Gold's music, as far as I'm concerned, is far superior to Sagon's Akinola. Now, Akinola's music is really good. He's a really good composer. But you can't tell me you're going to remember any of the music he's done when this season is over. Actually, forget that, when the episode's over. Now, very soon, that the soundtrack will be available to buy, either on hard copy, which will be CD, or you'll be able to download it. I'm not going to buy it. I've always kind of purchased the Doctor Who soundtracks. I love them. I love listening to season 1, season 2, season 3, 4. They're very memorable. Murray's music was mostly memorable in RTD's era, but don't get me wrong, his 11th Doctor theme is absolutely fantastic. And in fact, some of the music he did for season for the 11th Doctor, should I say, was great. But the Madman in a Box and all that, fantastic. Akinola's music just doesn't compare. Now, I agree Akinola's music is very good and it's helped make a bland season better. But when you compare him to Murray Gold, and I will never understand the hate for Murray Gold's music near the end of his kind of reign on Doctor Who. I always loved his music. His music was always great. People used to say, oh, he has to go. Why? Why didn't you like his music? Why did you think he had to go? It was an absolutely balmy, ridiculous criticism. I would love, I tell you what, right? Tell you what, let's see what we do. If you think Murray Gold's music is better than Sagon Akinola's, please like this video. If you think I'm wrong and Akinola's music is better than Murray Gold's, press down, thumbs down. I don't mind, I don't care. I'm used to the thumbs down. I've got a hard hat on, an invisible one. My sensibilities can take it. So if Murray Gold is actually better than Akinola's music, thumbs up. If you think I'm wrong and Akinola's music is better than Murray's, then thumb me down. And we'll see. And I'll tell you what, next time I'll do another video when I've got the time, because I talk about different things here. And we'll see who won. Who the people who subscribe to my channel, who watch my videos, think is better. Murray Gold or Sagon Akinola. But I'm putting my hat in the ring for Murray, because his music is as recognisable as John Williams' Star Wars themes. I used to call it, to me, he's an English John Williams. I mean, his music was so thematic and epic and wonderful. Now, some people think Doctor Who music shouldn't be like that. In fact, some people think that Doctor Who shouldn't be epic. I don't agree with that. One of the beautiful things that Russell T Davies did was mix epicness with the kind of way Doctor Who's always been. So Murray Gold's music, for me, will never be forgotten. And I'm always having a listen to it because it's so good. And it reminds me of better times on Doctor Who. There's so much going on. I want to go back to this toxic fandom thing again, because it keeps on coming up and people say, and people keep on doing video, why has Doctor Who become so toxic? Why has the fandom become so toxic? Do you blame people? They've taken away their show from them, our show from us. They've taken away what it means to be Doctor Who. What did you expect was going to happen? Did you think that people were just going to sit down and take it? This is our show. We don't own the rights to it, but it's our show. And we can bring it up or we can bring it down whenever we want. And it will be sad if this show is cancelled in the next 2 years. But at the end of the day, that's where we are headed. It'll be very interesting in a year's time how many people are watching this show. Now, I've talked to you a billion times about the merchandising. It's not selling well. We all know that. The new merchandise is just not going. Of course, the classic stuff is still going. Of course, the Tennant stuff and the Eccleston stuff and the Smith stuff still doing well because they were popular Doctors. This era isn't popular. You can't just focus on the ratings. You've got to focus on the whole thing. And merchandising and season box sets and all that are big money for the BBC. And it's one of the reasons this show hasn't been cancelled already. Believe me, when you look at Capaldi's ratings, they would have been justified in cancelling this show. And the ratings over on BBC America are even worse than they are in the UK. They're quickly falling. Maybe the American audience are more intelligent. They don't come back and watch something if they don't like it. There's no kind of product loyalty there. For me, I've told you before, that's the reason I keep on coming back every week, in the hope we get something good. I really hope the finale is something special and amazing. Now, we know we're going to get, is it Tim Shaw back? But I also think we're going to get a few of the other kind of male villains. Because have you noticed, none of the villains were female? Do you remember that? You realise that, right? Yeah. So the representation of males has been negative, and the representation for females has been positive, if you like your females that way, dull and dim, if you get my meaning. Now, you could throw Graham at me. Well, that's a positive thing. Ryan's a positive. But if you look deeper at those characters, is it a positive representation? What do they really do? Really? To help solve the problems or anything? Nothing. So basically, it's a war on men. And it's very sad that we've gone down to this level. But this is the BBC's mentality. And I don't even think if we get rid of Chibnall and bring someone else in, that's going to change. They're going to just look to someone to do the same thing. So I realised last night that Russell T Davies won an award for a very English scandal. Now, for me, you know what high regard I hold Russell in. The man's a genius. But this man was able to represent people, all types of people, but still not let the creativity and the entertainment suffer. He knew the balance. But unfortunately now, the BBC don't want that. They want the representation to be in your face. But Russell T Davies did it in a way the representation was there. But, as I say, the entertainment and the creativity didn't suffer. It wasn't sacrificed for the representation and the political points they want to put. Because the thing is, with ideologies, one person's ideology is another person's spit in the face. And that's the problem with representing ideologies, right? Because not everyone's going to agree with your ideology. My ideology is different to yours, but you've got to respect mine and I've got to respect yours. And the best way of doing that is not having ideologies in storytelling, in films, in TV. Make it straight line through the board and focus on entertaining us, developing great characters, fleshing out great characters. That's the way you do it. And in a way, really, that's what Russell did. And if he did have ideologies in his Doctor Who, it was always below the radar. You could see it, but it wasn't bashing you over the head with a hammer or a sledgehammer or however you want to describe it. And this is why Russell T Davies is a genius. He did the same thing with Queer as Folk and all the other stuff that he does. He knows how to represent something, but not sacrifice what all writers are in the game for, to entertain, to create. That's dying within the BBC. So we're seeing it a lot all through their shows. So this is the thing now. People always say we want Russell T Davies back. I don't think Russell T Davies will ever come back. I don't think Russell T Davies wants to do Doctor Who anymore because I think he knows the constraints he would be under. So it's not like he hasn't worked with the BBC since, but I don't think he particularly likes them too much or enjoys working with them, and I think that's the problem. He's gone. He's not coming back. He'd be ideal to come back, but I wouldn't want Russell to come back from having to. I'd want him to come back through wanting to. And if it was just a desperate kind of thing because Doctor Who was struggling, I don't know. I'd love it to happen if he could work in the same remit as he worked before, but I very much doubt he would be working in that remit, and I very much doubt that he will ever come back. And Doctor Who is in a very, very sad state because I think one of the things that we've seen from these writers is they don't know Doctor Who. They don't love Doctor Who. We've seen some writers from the TV drama, doctors. They don't give two hoots about Doctor Who. None of them do. And there's another kind of angle here, I'm afraid, and it isn't about Doctor Who. It's about politics. It's about ideologies. And I've just talked about ideology and why it's a very dangerous game to play with entertainment, TV, and film. But they keep on doing it. They keep on pushing their agendas and thinking that creativity and entertainment doesn't matter. I had an argument with an actor earlier this year, and I forgot his name, and he said representation, entertainment, and creativity are all the same thing, and the balance can be met. But my point is, it can be met, I was saying to him, but it hasn't been met. And of course, he's a Hollywood big boy. He wasn't agreeing. But for me, these people just don't see it because they're seeing it from a different angle from we are. Because we want to be entertained. We want Doctor Who to be awesome, like it used to be under RTD and it used to be at times under Moffat. You're actually just watching 50 minutes of blandness, of mediocrity. And even the people who claim to love it can't argue that. Well, they will, but you and I know the truth. The truth is there. We talk about Eric, who I nicknamed Eric the Viking, the single dad who left his daughter to be with his dead wife. That character is written like that, so you hate this single father. It's done on purpose. And for me, it's ever so frustrating, this war on men by TV and film creatives. And it's, again, a very dangerous game to play because in the end, you're going to drive those people, or those consumers, away from your product. It makes no sense. You think that women and SJWs are going to support your products and buy your merchandise. No, they're not. At the end of the day, a post on Twitter is one thing, but being a real fan and actually supporting a franchise is another. And this is what these people don't understand. The BBC, someone actually, is it Vortex, a Twitter account asking if Doctor Who has been a success. Well, okay, we can chop this up. Creatively, Doctor Who Season 11 has been a massive failure. Ratings-wise, it's been okay. It's been solid. But in terms of sales and other stuff and making money from it, it's been a huge failure. But majorly, the creative element proves that it's been a failure. So you can keep on citing ratings and things like that, but ratings aren't really a stamp or a flag of success. It's what the audience are getting out of your product. And I would say 70% of people are not getting very much out of this product. Because if you're only watching Doctor Who because she's female and she kind of has a top that represents the LBGT insignia, that she's going to wear a scarf that shows the LBGT insignia in colours, that doesn't make it a good show. And here lies the problem. Why do you think she's wearing the scarf? If everything in the garden was rosy, do you think she'd be wearing a scarf like Tom Baker was, just to prove that she's the Doctor? Come on, use your brains, people. They are in trouble. And I tell you what, the announcement for the future of this show, when the New Year's Day episode is over, will be very telling and very revealing. Will it be 6 episodes? Will it be next year? Will we have to wait? Whatever we find out after New Year's Day will tell us a great kind of... It will show us, won't it, if the BBC are happy with the way things are going or if they're not. So thank you very much. You've been watching and listening to Big Mouth. Always keep it geek, always keep it nerd, and you know where I am if you ever want to chat.